Welcome to day 3 of the Mindful Education Summit. My name is Susan Kaiser Greenland, and the mindful game that we're going to play today is around the theme of resilience. And I thought we'd read a book. You probably are familiar with this book. It's called The Very Hungry Caterpillar by Eric Carle. And this book is great for young kids, but you might be surprised if you're teaching older children and teens how resonant they find it as well. Also, I have to tell you, I've taught a lot of adults and I've trained a lot of teachers using this book, and it's kind of amazing how powerful it can be. So let's give it a try, and let's read the book in a little different way than one might ordinarily read The Very Hungry Caterpillar. Okay. In the light of the moon, a little egg lay on a leaf. See, there's the leaf. There's a little tiny egg. See that? In a big old moon. Gorgeous, gorgeous picture, right? One Sunday morning, the warm sun, there's the warm sun, came up, and pop! Out of the egg came a tiny and very, very hungry caterpillar. There's the caterpillar, right? What do we know about caterpillars? One of the things we know about caterpillars is they start out as tiny little caterpillars, and then they transform. Do you know what they transform into? They transform into butterflies. So let's see what happens with this caterpillar. What does a caterpillar need in order to transform into a butterfly? What do you think? Well, this caterpillar, because he's very hungry, is looking for some food. On Monday, he ate through one apple, but he was still very hungry. On Tuesday, he ate through 2 pears, but he was still very, very hungry. This is getting to be a lot of food that this little tiny caterpillar is eating. On Wednesday, he ate through 3 plums, but he was still very, very hungry. Can you imagine time that you were kind of like that? It doesn't have to be around fruit, or it doesn't have to be around food, but times that you were interested in doing something, and so you just started doing more and more and more. And the more you started to do, the more you wanted to do. That's a little bit like what's happening to this caterpillar. On Thursday, he ate through 4 strawberries. Do you think that's too much? Do you think that's too many strawberries? Maybe, maybe not. He was still hungry though, so he kept eating. He was growing. On Friday, he ate through 5 oranges. He was still hungry. On Saturday, he ate through 1 piece of chocolate cake, 1 ice cream cone, 1 pickle, 1 slice of Swiss cheese, 1 slice of salami, 1 lollipop, 1 piece of cherry pie, 1 sausage, 1 cupcake, and 1 slice of watermelon. See, there he is. There he is. How much of that is really healthy food? Let's take another look. We've got chocolate cake. Do you think that's a healthy snack? Sometimes. Ice cream cone? Pickle. How about a pickle? Swiss cheese. That seems pretty healthy to me. Salami. Then we got a lollipop. Then we've got some pie, sausage, cupcake, and then watermelon. That's a healthy snack. But that's an awful lot for this little tiny caterpillar to eat. And that night he had a stomachache. Has anything like that ever happened to you? Sometimes we eat so much, we sometimes get a stomachache. Or sometimes we get so busy doing so many things that we get something that's like a stomachache. So what is he going to do when he has a stomachache? The next day was Sunday again, and the caterpillar ate through 1 nice green leaf. Simple, simple leaf. And then he felt much better. He went from eating all of this stuff and doing so many different things and feeling a little bit sick to slowing it down for a day, eating the simple green leaf, and feeling a whole lot better. Does that sound like something that you might do sometimes too? Sometimes we get very, very excited and we do so much, and that can be a lot of fun and we can learn a lot. But then sometimes we have to back up a little bit and slow it down and do kind of the same thing our caterpillar did today. Just eat the green leaf. Now he wasn't hungry anymore. Do you remember our little caterpillar? Let's take a look. That little caterpillar right there. Look at him now, or her now. He's a big, or she's a big old caterpillar. And that big old caterpillar built a small house, it's called a cocoon, around himself. He stayed inside for more than 2 weeks. What do you think he was doing in his cocoon? You know what I think that the caterpillar was doing inside that cocoon? I think the caterpillar was reflecting and practicing mindfulness. That sometimes happens, right? We do an awful lot. We're out there in the world. We're very, very busy. We eat a lot, like the caterpillar. Sometimes we eat too much. Sometimes we come back and just eat the green leaf. That's how we learn. But part of that learning process is to take some time, get inside that cocoon that we make for ourselves, and just practice some mindfulness and reflect. And I think that's what our caterpillar was doing inside the cocoon that it built, until he nibbled a hole in the cocoon, pushed his way out, and then he transformed and was a beautiful butterfly. So for today, I'd like you to think about ways that you might be like our caterpillar, how you might do things today to learn and to grow and grow and grow and grow, and then take a little time back to reflect, practice mindfulness so that you can learn from what you did during the day and transform.